Hi, I'm going to teach you how I did this to my panels. Basically, I've shaved off a piece of the edge of each corner, the thickness of the brackets, so that they can sit flush on the pad. I took off exactly the thickness of the bracket because I want it to be completely flat. If you want it still to be a little recessed, you don't have to take off quite as much. But make sure you don't take off too much or else your panels will stick up above the metal. So when Matt did this, he used this router, cheapest router we could find. And I got some router bits. When I attempted to use this, I didn't like it. It doesn't feel sturdy, and it like broke and threw something at me. So I decided to pick up something else. I got this router table add-on. You need to have a Dremel already. That's my Dremel. I guess there's different Dremel models. You want one of the high-speed ones, I guess. It's like 35 bucks. Then you're gonna need the router bit. There's different size router bits. This is the biggest one they have. It's 1/4 inch. You're gonna need safety glasses. Super important. You're gonna need a piece of 2x4 because here's the router table. It comes with some screws. You have to screw it onto the table you're using or onto a piece of wood that you can then clamp to the table. So you might also want some extra wood for practicing getting this set up to the depth you want. So I'll tell you a bit about this thing. First of all, as I was trying to assemble it, reading the instructions, apparently they've changed their design since they made these booklets. And if you try to follow this booklet, you'll find that it looks like you're missing pieces that it's talking about. Really, they just changed the design, and it involves the way that the Dremel goes in here. So the first thing it tells you to do is loosen this nut, spin this, and this will lower. That controls the height. You lower it. It's very hard to see, there is a nut up here, a really wide nut. So on your Dremel, this end part, you remove this end part, it screws on there, and then screw the nut thing around the top of the Dremel, and it comes with this handy wrench for tightening. So make sure that's in there nice and tight. Then the ways to adjust this, like I said, this raises it up and down, then tighten this. Then up here, this will tell you how far into the material you're going to cut. And since we're just taking off the edge, I basically have it just lined up with the edge of the bit here. So you'll probably want to test it on some wood. I had some crappy other panels that I tested on to make sure that I got the right depth and the right width. It's possible I might need to add a second pass because I took off literally just enough so that this sits flush with it. But since the panels don't really sit this tight with the brackets in the pad, you know, they kind of slide around a little bit, it's possible that it could slide under like this and get stuck. So I haven't played with these much, but if that happens, then I'm just going to come back and take a little bit more off so that this can't get stuck. But I wanted to start with as little as possible because you can't undo. So basically make sure this is all nice and tight, everything's adjusted properly. Put that thing down. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna show you. Safety glasses. Plug it in. It's it's a good idea to have it unplugged while you're adjusting shit. So let's see if I can put this here. Can I put this here? So I'm just gonna do it and then I'll tell you some notes. I put the I put the Dremel at the highest speed, 10. That was easy. So you can see it takes a nice, even, smooth edge off. So basically, you flip it over. You want to make sure that it's flush against this thing and then it's flat on here. It's kind of hard because this table isn't very big, the panel's much bigger. So you have to really try not to angle it either way. But if you do angle it, just finish your first pass. I always do 2 passes, and usually it does take some off the second pass, which means one of the times was not holding it very smooth. And occasionally, it'll like, if you push it too fast, it'll kind of catch and like start jumping a little bit. Just pull it out and start over, go slow. And I have not messed any of these up yet. So as long as you go slow, you can just do it again. Sometimes on my first ones, you'll get better at it, but on my first ones, I would accidentally angle it or angle it at the end and then it wouldn't be level, but just running it through a second time fixed it. So yeah, that's basically it. Also makes a huge mess, so keep that in mind wherever you're going to be doing this. The end.